If we're being brutally honest, women today don't fear heartbreak the way men think they do. What they actually fear, deep down, is boredom. A broken heart can be healed, but a boring man, that's a slow death she'll never forgive you for. Here's the controversial truth. Most women would rather cry over the guy who kept her excited than stay with the guy who never made her feel anything. Boredom is the silent killer of attraction, and yet most men are completely blind to it. They focus on avoiding mistakes, playing safe, and being the good guy, not realizing that safety without excitement is exactly what pushes her away. Women are addicted to stimulation, emotion, tension, mystery, and when you fail to give her that, she will look for it elsewhere. The scariest part? She won't even feel guilty about it, because in her mind, you broke the deal first by giving her nothing to feel. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why boredom is more terrifying to a woman than heartbreak, and how you can make sure you never fall into the trap of being the man she forgets. 1. Boredom kills faster than rejection. Most men don't realize this, but boredom is a woman's ultimate deal breaker. You could be good-looking, successful, kind, even loyal. But if she feels bored around you, none of that matters. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Women would rather be hurt by passion than suffocated by monotony. Think about it. Heartbreak still makes her feel something. It gives her drama, tears, and even a story to tell her friends. But boredom? Boredom is emotional starvation. It makes her feel invisible, unappreciated, and worst of all, unalive. Here's where men sabotage themselves. They think the safest path is to keep everything calm, predictable, and drama-free. They go out of their way not to upset her, not to disagree, not to stir the waters. But in trying so hard to be perfect, they become forgettable. A woman doesn't crave chaos, but she craves energy. She wants to feel like every moment with you is charged, that you bring a spark no one else does. If all you offer is routine, politeness, and small talk, she'll eventually label you as safe but unexciting, and attraction doesn't survive in that zone. The controversial part? Many women will subconsciously create drama just to escape boredom. That's why you'll notice women picking fights over small things or stirring emotions out of nowhere. It's not because they love conflict, it's because they hate emptiness. They'd rather feel something intense, even if it's negative, than sit in silence with a man who makes her feel nothing. So what's the solution? It's not about becoming a clown, a bad boy, or forcing artificial excitement. It's about presence. It's about bringing passion into the smallest moments. How you touch her hand, how you challenge her opinions, how you look at her like she's the only woman in the room. Excitement comes from energy, from confidence, from refusing to settle into robotic patterns. A man who lives fully, with purpose and depth, never bores her because his energy makes every interaction feel alive. Here's the harsh reality. Rejection hurts, heartbreak stings, but boredom kills slowly and permanently. A woman might forgive heartbreak if the passion was real, but she will never forgive boredom, because once she labels you as dull, she's already gone in her mind. That's why men must understand. Being boring isn't safe. It's the most dangerous thing you can ever be. 2. Excitement is the currency of desire. Here's the blunt truth most men ignore. Excitement is the currency that buys a woman's attention, her loyalty, and her attraction. Without it, she checks out emotionally, even if she stays physically. And the dangerous part? She won't always tell you she's bored. She'll just slowly drift, stop investing, and eventually find someone else who gives her that spark. Now let's get one thing clear. Excitement doesn't mean wild dates every night or trying to entertain her like a stand-up comedian. That's a rookie mistake. Excitement in the female mind is about emotional energy. It's about unpredictability, variety, and the feeling that she doesn't know exactly what's coming next. Women are wired for stimulation. They want to feel the highs, the lows, the mystery, the intensity. If she always knows what you're going to say, what you're going to do, and how every night will end, you've already lost half the battle. Think about why women get addicted to certain TV shows, novels, or even toxic relationships. It's the same formula: anticipation, suspense, surprise, and release. They love the emotional roller coaster, even when it makes no logical sense. That's why a guy who brings unpredictability and confidence will always seem more magnetic than the nice, safe, consistent guy who treats her like a daily chore. Here's the controversial part. Most men are terrified of being unpredictable because they think it risks losing her. So they play it safe, over-explain, and try too hard to keep her happy at all times. But that safety net becomes a cage. She feels trapped in routine. Meanwhile, the man who can introduce a little mystery, who can switch gears, surprise her, and keep her on edge without being unstable, creates the kind of excitement she craves. So how do you actually do this? Simple things. Don't always text her at the exact same time. Plan something unexpected instead of asking her what she wants every time. Hold eye contact one moment and pull back the next, leaving her wondering. Switch between being playful and being serious so she never fully predicts your frame. These aren't games. They're signals that you're dynamic, that you're alive, and that life with you won't feel like living in a waiting room. Attraction thrives on excitement. Boredom starves it to death. If you understand this, you stop being the man she tolerates and become the man she chases because she never feels like she's had enough of you. 3. Predictability is attraction's silent killer. If there's one thing that suffocates a woman's desire faster than anything else, it's predictability. The moment she can predict every word out of your mouth, every move you're going to make, and every way you'll respond, she loses that sense of curiosity that fuels attraction. And here's the brutal truth. Once curiosity is gone, excitement follows. Without excitement, her mind starts to wander, and her emotions start searching for stimulation somewhere else. Most men think predictability is the same as stability. They confuse the two. Stability is powerful. It means you're grounded, reliable, a man she can trust. Predictability, however, is stagnation. It's when you've become so repetitive, so obvious, that nothing about you feels alive anymore. And that's where most good guys destroy their chances. They fall into routines. They take her to the same restaurants, have the same conversations, text her the same good morning every single day. At first, she appreciates it. But soon, she's checking out mentally because you've become too easy to figure out. Here's the controversial part. Women are not logical about attraction. They don't sit there and calculate if you're a good provider or a safe option. They feel attraction in the unknown, in the tension, in the not quite predictable energy you bring. That's why the men they chase are rarely the ones who give them total security. It's the ones who spark curiosity, the ones who leave just enough mystery that she wants to lean in and find out more. Think of it like this. Imagine watching a movie where you already know the ending. Would you still be excited? Of course not. That's what it's like when a man becomes predictable. She already knows how the story ends, and that kills the thrill. The men who stand out are the ones who know how to keep her guessing, not with games or lies, but with depth. With layers she hasn't fully uncovered yet. So what does this mean for you? Stop living on autopilot. Switch things up. Change the pace. Surprise her with your presence, your words, your actions. Let her see that you're not a man who can be boxed in or scripted. Predictability kills mystery, and mystery is the spark that keeps desire alive. A woman would rather face heartbreak with a man who kept her guessing than spend years bored with a man she could predict from a mile away. 4. Drama feels better than emptiness. Here's the part most men don't want to hear. Women will often choose drama over dullness. Not because they love chaos, but because drama makes them feel something. And when the choice is between feeling too much or feeling nothing at all, most women will always choose intensity. That's why you see women crying over men who treated them badly, yet ignoring men who gave them everything. What those men don't realize is that everything means nothing if it doesn't come with energy, tension, or spark. This is where men lose. They confuse keeping things peaceful with keeping things attractive. They avoid disagreement. They hide their real opinions. They constantly try to please her. And in doing so, they strip the relationship of passion. Sure, she may appreciate the comfort at first, but soon it feels like she's dating a roommate instead of a man. No fire, no contrast, no highs and lows. Just flat, empty consistency. And nothing kills her desire faster than emotional flatlines. Here's the controversial part. A woman doesn't need you to fight with her, but she does need to feel your edge. If you never challenge her, never tease her, never stand your ground, she'll lose respect. And once respect is gone, attraction is gone too. Men think women leave because they weren't good enough. The truth. Many women leave because they were too good, too soft, too agreeable, too predictable. They never gave her the emotional charge that makes her feel alive. Now, let's be clear. Being dramatic or toxic isn't the answer. Stoic men don't create chaos for attention. Instead, they create polarity. They bring depth and intensity into the interaction by being unapologetically themselves. They don't suppress their masculine edge to keep the peace. They let her feel their presence, even if that means she sometimes gets frustrated or challenged. That frustration, ironically, is far better than emptiness because it shows she still cares. Think of it like electricity. Without positive and negative charges, there's no current. Without tension, there's no spark. Women crave that current. They want to feel the highs and lows of emotional energy. If you can't give her that, she'll eventually go looking for it elsewhere. That's why drama, as messy as it looks, often wins over boredom. And if you want to win her long term, you need to master the balance, making her feel safe but never letting the fire burn out. 5. Attention is her oxygen. If there's one thing women cannot survive without, it's attention. Not just any attention, but attention that makes them feel desired, seen, and important. For men, this is where the biggest blind spot lies. Most guys think providing stability, loyalty, and consistency is enough. They assume their presence speaks for itself. But in the female mind, absence of attention equals absence of value. When she feels invisible, she doesn't just get bored. She starts to resent you. And once that switch flips, attraction dies fast. Here's the controversial truth. Women are addicted to emotional stimulation, and attention is the delivery system. It's not about constant gifts, long texts, or being at her service 24/7. That's needy and unattractive. What she craves is focused presence. The difference is massive. One man can spend hours around her, but still make her feel ignored because his energy is elsewhere. Another man can give her 10 minutes of undivided, passionate presence, and she'll think about it for days. Women respond not to time, but to intensity. This is why boredom creeps in when a man checks out mentally. He may still be there physically, but his attention is divided on his phone, his work, or his own worries. She feels it instantly, and because her emotional world thrives on being felt and acknowledged, she starts pulling away. That's when you hear women say things like, "He's here, but it feels like he's not." That's not drama. It's a real emotional need being unmet. Now, here's the dangerous part. If you don't feed her with stimulating attention, someone else will. Women rarely leave men out of nowhere. They leave because over time, their hunger for attention goes unfed. The men who keep them hooked are the ones who know how to balance it, who give attention in a way that feels strong, confident, and deliberate, not desperate or overbearing. So what's the key? Be intentional. When you're with her, actually be with her. Put down the phone. Look into her eyes. Touch her in a way that feels deliberate, not routine. Make her feel like she's the only woman in the room. That level of attention is rare, and that's why it's unforgettable. Boredom sets in the second she feels like background noise. Keep her oxygen flowing, and she'll never want to leave your atmosphere. 6. Comfort without challenge is a trap. Most men think giving a woman maximum comfort is the key to keeping her. They make everything easy, smooth, and predictable. They avoid arguments, never push back, and try to become the perfect boyfriend who always agrees. But here's the truth. Comfort without challenge doesn't create attraction. It creates complacency. And complacency is the beginning of boredom. Think about it. A woman doesn't respect a man who folds under pressure. She doesn't admire a man who avoids tension at all costs. What she craves is polarity, the spark that comes when her feminine energy meets your masculine edge. If you give her nothing but endless comfort, she'll appreciate you, but she won't desire you. And appreciation without desire is the fast track to being friend-zoned in your own relationship. Here's the controversial part. Women test men not because they're cruel, but because they need to feel his strength. They poke, they push, they challenge, not to destroy him, but to see if he stands firm. When a man caves in or gets flustered, she loses respect. But when a man holds his ground calmly, without being aggressive or needy, she feels both safe and excited. That's the balance. Strength without insecurity. Authority without arrogance. Most men, however, mistake challenge for conflict. They think standing their ground will drive her away, so they default to over-pleasing. They don't realize that by always avoiding tension, they're robbing her of the very spark that keeps her attraction alive. Women don't want endless harmony. They want intensity. They want polarity. They want a man who brings depth. Picture this. She throws a playful jab at you, testing your frame. Instead of getting defensive or sulking, you smirk, lean in, and tease her back with calm confidence. In that moment, she feels your edge. She knows you're not fragile. That kind of energy makes her respect you, and respect is the foundation of lasting desire. The reality is simple. A woman will never admit it, but she doesn't want you to agree with her on everything. She doesn't want you to play safe every second. She wants you to challenge her, to keep her on her toes, to make her feel the fire of your masculine presence. Comfort without challenge kills attraction. But comfort with challenge, that's the sweet spot that keeps her hooked. 7. Mystery keeps her addicted. Here's a harsh truth that most men never understand. Once a woman fully figures you out, she starts to lose interest. It's not because you're a bad man or because she doesn't value you. It's because human desire is fueled by curiosity. And when curiosity dies, attraction follows. That's why mystery isn't just an option in relationships. It's a requirement. Most men make the mistake of overexposing themselves too quickly. They dump their entire life story in the first few dates. They over-explain their feelings, and they reveal every detail of their routines. At first, she may appreciate the openness, but soon she realizes there's nothing left to uncover. The thrill of discovery is gone, and with it, the spark of desire. On the other hand, the men who know how to reveal themselves slowly, piece by piece, keep her chasing. They understand that leaving a little unknown is what keeps her hooked. Here's the controversial part. Women don't want a man who's a complete mystery forever, that feels distant and cold. What they crave is a man with layers, a man who has depth, purpose, and passions she hasn't fully explored yet. When you live a life that's bigger than her, when you have goals, hobbies, and ambitions that don't revolve around her, you automatically create intrigue. She wonders what drives you, what you're thinking, and what's coming next. That curiosity keeps her invested. Mystery also works in the small details. The way you pause before answering, the way you don't reveal every plan right away, the way you surprise her with new sides of yourself she didn't expect. Each of these moments adds to the sense that she hasn't fully figured you out, and that's exactly what keeps her emotionally addicted. Think about the difference between a puzzle that's half solved and one that's already finished. The half-solved puzzle keeps you engaged, leaning in, eager to complete it. The finished puzzle? You glance at it once, then move on. That's how women experience men. If you're too easy to solve, she eventually loses the drive to keep playing. So here's the truth. Never make yourself 100% predictable, 100% exposed, or 100% available. Keep some parts of yourself private. Keep working on your own mission, and let her discover you over time. Mystery doesn't distance her. It draws her closer. Because as long as she feels there's more to learn about you, she'll never get bored of wanting you. At the end of the day, women don't fear heartbreak the way men assume. They fear boredom. Heartbreak may sting, but boredom suffocates slowly until she feels nothing at all. That's why the real challenge isn't keeping her comfortable, it's keeping her captivated. When you bring excitement, presence, mystery, and challenge, she feels alive in your orbit. When you don't, she drifts away, no matter how loyal or good you are. Remember this truth. Passion beats perfection every time. If you want her to stay, stop being predictable, stop being safe, and become the man she could never get bored of.